Hello and welcome to the Undead Gaming News Podcast, your one-stop shop for all things gaming. I'm your host, Zombie, and joining me is my co-host, Litchi.
Hello!
Our first story comes from the Chinese company known as Tencent, as they have made an offer to Sumo Group to buy them out, and that offer has been accepted of £990 million. Sumo Group is of course the parent company to Sumo Digital, which are the developers of Little Big Planet 3 and Crackdown 3. The acquisition brings another major developer into the Tencent fold, of course. Already being the biggest gaming company, Tencent owns League of Legends studio Riot Games and has a financial stake in several publishers including Epic Games, Activision Blizzard, Ubisoft, Bluehole, Paradox Interactive, Supercell, Grinding Gear Games, Jaeger, along with the chat platform Discord. And in February, the company also acquired a minority position in the DayZ developer Bohemia Interactive.
So, Tencent are like the Disney of the games industry. They're just taking over all the companies.
Essentially, yes. They want their fingers in as many holes as possible.
Okay.
Using other companies to make the profits, essentially.
Yeah.
Also in the news, the Warframe Live event, TennoCon, which happens every year. A lot more people showed up than expected and smashed the concurrent user record, and then ended up crashing the servers, while getting in the game is still fairly easy. Joining a relay was a lot harder, due to obviously the amount of people that were on there trying to attend the event. Microsoft also made the news, with Windows 11 adding the gaming feature of direct storage to Windows 10. They say that the direct storage is now compatible with Windows 10, which was originally a Windows 11 exclusive. Microsoft is committed to ensuring that when the game devs adopt a new API, they can reach as many gamers as possible. So, as such, games built against the Direct Storage SDK will become compatible with Windows 10 version 1909 and up. Same with DirectX 12 Agility SDK. The new Direct Storage API programming model that provides DX12 style-based batch to submission completion calling pattern, relieving apps from the need to manage thousands of I/O requests, completion notifications per second, GPU decompression, providing super fast asset decompression for load time and streaming scenarios, storage stack optimization on Windows 11. This consists if an upgraded OS storage stack that unlocks full potential of direct storage on Windows 10, games will still benefit from the more efficient use of the legacy OS storage stack. Steam Deck also has returned to the news, obviously the handheld console made by Valve, as it's got an issue with running certain games. Valve created a feature called Proton, which utilizes a fork in the wine capability layer, which is designed to run native Windows titles on the OS. While this does expand the supported games considerably, there are some notable exceptions according to the Proton database. Almost half of Steam's 10 most popular games will not work on the SteamOS. This includes games such as Destiny 2, Apex Legends, PUBG, Rainbow Six Siege. The culprit seems to be anti-cheat software. In most cases, the games will start up, but their anti-cheat system won't, leaving you unable to log into multiplayer servers. Valve says that the Steam Deck will come with a new version of the SteamOS, and is currently improving Proton's game capability and support for anti-cheat solutions by working directly with the vendors.
But obviously, the Steam Deck is still technically a PC, and as a straight up PC, Valve are also happy to let you install whatever, obviously, OS you want, so you could just install Windows itself, kind of negating these problems, while obviously they attempt to fix the problem, but it's obviously the deck's not out yet anyway, so who knows, they might have fixed it by then.
Take-Two Interactive are in the news, as they are attempting to take down mods for certain games, such as GTA 5 map mods such like Vice City Overhaul, as well as multiple popular mods for earlier games in the series. GTA Liberty City was a total conversion, brought the setting of GTA 3 into Vice City's engine and was first released in 2005. It's no longer available on ModDB Vice Cry, which replaced Vice City's textures and models with higher resolution versions. That's also gone. And so is GTA Underground, which combined the maps of not just GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, but also those of Rockstar games of Bully, Manhunt and Manhunt 2. They then added Gang Warfare. So are the mods converting San Andreas into ports of console exclusives, Liberty City Stories and Vice City Stories, and that's not all. A thread on the GTA forums has been cataloguing the removal as well as noting that the Rockstar statement on single-player mods, initially made during the back and forth over modding tool OpenIV in 2017, and which many modders have been assuming would protect their work, was quietly updated in 2019. It now notes that it does not apply to the use of importation of other IP, including Rockstar IP, in the project or making new game stories, missions or maps. Neither of these clauses was in the original version of Rockstar's statement, which has been excluded from the Wayback Machine, but can still be found elsewhere online. As for Take-Two, they've decided to go after all of the mods, even the ones that are 16 years old. The internet's currently split between two theories. One is that because they're seen as competition, the hypothetical remastered versions of GTA 3 and Vice City and San Andreas, and two, it's connected to rumours about GTA 6.
Which of those theories do you subscribe to?
Well, I would say it's more like competition because they're actually making quite good versions of obviously previous titles and making them look a lot better, which is obviously something that the company would want to be paid for. But the modders are able to make it for free and let people play it for free, so,
yeah,
you know.
I don't know, I mean, I've seen other companies in the past actually take on mod creators as staff so that the actual mod creator actually works on the actual projects themselves. But I think before they started taking down the mods and stuff, they should have at least announced like remastered versions of those games if they was going to actually do them. But then obviously maybe rope in the mod creator, and then the mod itself could be integrated, used as like the building blocks for the official release of the remaster.
Yeah, but speaking of shutting things down, Games Workshop wants to shut down animations, as they've changed their IP guidelines and said individuals must not create fan films or animations based on our settings and characters. These are only to be created under license from Games Workshop. There is also a similar clause that applies to fan-made games, fan art and fiction, and says websites are permitted so long as they are non-profit and make it clear that they're not official works.
The changes also coincide with the launch of the new Warhammer Plus subscription service, which launches with 2 animated series, and Games Workshop has been pushing hard on these official Warhammer animations, many of which, like I said in the previous story, sourced from existing fan projects, even outright hiring the creator of the Astartes shorts. Any thoughts?
Well, I don't think that they should be shutting down the animations and stuff. I think they should say that you're not allowed to profit off them because essentially it is other people's work that you'd be profiting off, just with obviously a little bit of your own work to do the animation. But they should let the people make the animations because people like to make animations about games they're passionate about.
Yeah, but then obviously it just seemed a bit odd that they would shut down, obviously. No, you may not make animations, but you can come work for us and make your animations.
Yeah, because obviously they'd be selling those animations, so they'd be making a profit. It's not some random person who's making an animation. They're making a profit out of this person's animation instead.
Yeah, they're just saying, oh no, you can make your animations, but as long as we get paid for it.
Yeah.
Which is a bit naff.
Nintendo are in the news as well, because they're getting tired of people asking for a Switch Pro, and they've made a statement saying, we just announced that the Nintendo Switch OLED will launch in October 2021, and have no plans for launching any other model at this time. This of course comes from the big influx of people who were angry about the Switch OLED not being what they wanted, because obviously they wanted a Switch Pro, not a new fancy screen. They wanted better processing power, and Nintendo are not delivering that at the minute, so they're asking people to stop asking for it because it's not coming at the moment.
Yep. I mean, obviously, power and obviously having like really great processors and more memory and be able to run stuff in 4K. Oh, that's not really something you think of when you think Nintendo. Nintendo aren't really like the kind of people. They're not the kind of people who want to be. Oh, we want to outshine our competition because they're not getting there. They're just like, we want to innovate, we want to change how things are, but then they just want to test different technology. And well, obviously, yes, the OLED screen is objectively better than the current screen. I don't think it's really worth the price tag of buying a Switch just for that. If you already own a Switch, I'd say, well, it's not really worth it unless obviously your Switch breaks down. If you're going to need to buy a Switch anyway, then yeah, get the OLED, but there's no real reason to buy the actual OLED model, because it is not the Pro. It'll never be the Pro.
Yeah, perhaps they'll have something for us next year.
I don't know. Might just come out with a completely new console. The Switch has been out a while, and obviously their competitors have recently brought out their new consoles at the back end of last year. Well, obviously the Switch, I think, came out a couple of years later than the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. Was it a couple of years? Was it 2015 or 2017 it came out?
I don't know.
But yeah, it's probably nearing the end of its cycle, so you should probably get the new Nintendo console, which could maybe do some of the things you want, obviously, the Switch to do, but they just clearly can't. Maybe they just can't figure out how to do the Switch at the moment and also keep it portable. But then obviously you have what is retitled as the Switch Pro that obviously they should have got would be the Steam Deck. Obviously they figured out how to do it, so if Nintendo just casually look at what Steam's doing, maybe that could give them some ideas as to how they could manage to pull off a Pro. I don't know.
Also in Nintendo news, they've announced some retro titles that will be coming to the Switch online services. From July 28th, you'll be able to download Claymates, Jelly Boy, and Bomboozle. They're all different platformers of different styles. If you're looking for a free mobile game, that's apparently what the next XCOM will be. Dubbed as XCOM Legends, it's apparently set in the XCOM 2 timeline, and it will be played vertically on the phone rather than horizontally. Doesn't really look particularly great, but that's really what you'd expect from a mobile version, to be fair. It's a very descaled version of XCOM, from what I can tell, but it's free, so...
Could be something you could probably sit there, just chill, play XCOM on the toilet, watch all your loved ones die.
What a lovely image.
Yeah, after you've obviously had your squad with you and all your loved ones, and they die, and there's permadeath, and...
Maybe you should run the ad campaign and just have an actor sitting on the toilet playing it.
Oh, come on, that is how you play mobile games.
For some. Skull and Bones is also in the news. Skull and Bones is a multiplayer expansion to the Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was originally an expansion which is now a standalone. Skull and Bones has of course been in development for many years, which is why it's connected to Black Flag, since that's a very old game. A former dev says, every time we got feedback from Paris, they would just freak out and change everything, and then change the people who were working on it, and that happened multiple times. It will of course eventually be released as a standalone rather than an expansion because it's been so long. How long the game will actually take to come out, we don't know, because they're still working on it, and we have no real trailers or anything for it at the moment, probably because it's changed so many times over the years, so we'll have to wait and see if anything comes of it.
Do we know much about the actual game?
No.
We just know it won't have the competitive ship battles similar to the Division-style exploration zone, which, I don't know, was there a Division-style exploration zone? There was I don't know that it was called the exploration zone, but there was an area of the map which was a PvP zone. It was this infected area, look like the quarantine zone. But yes, apparently won't have that. So I'm thinking possibly maybe is it in a similar vein to Sea of Thieves, but obviously with a more photorealistic style than cell shading. Sea of Thieves cell shaded? It's not ultra realistic, is it?
No.
But yeah, so more fun on the high seas.
If you're looking for sales this week, the PlayStation Store Summer Sale is now on. For the PS5, you have Demon's Souls, Spider-Man Miles Morales, Returnal, Sackboy Big Adventure, Metro Exodus, Disco Elysium, The Final Cut, Judgment, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Hitman 3, Manifold Garden, Outriders, Sinking City. All of those are joining the Summer Sale for the PS5, and for the PS4 you have the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, Predator Hunting Grounds, Red Dead Redemption 2, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, Tensei 3, Spelunky 2, 13 Sentinels, Outer Wilds, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and Forgotten Anne. All of those are available in the Summer Sale, so go have a look, grab what you feel like getting while they're on sale.
Anything in there catch your eye?
Well, I mean, I've got the first two on the PS5, Sackboy, so I think Returnal is the only one that's really interesting to me. As for the PS4, though, Mass Effect Legendary Edition maybe, but that's about it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I've got, obviously, like, Predator Hunting Grounds I saw it in development, but I've not heard much about it when it actually came out. As far as I'm aware, it didn't actually live up to the expectations.
Well, I played the beta for that, I think it was, and it was balancing issues for the teams, so...
There's always going to be balancing issues when it comes to, like, an asymmetrical game. Obviously, you know, I play a lot of Dead by Daylight. Balancing issues are horrible.
Yeah, but it's like, if you spawned in as the Predator, you were going to win. If you spawned in as the Marines or whatever, then you were going to lose. Simple as that. Because you didn't stand a chance against the Predator. You could shoot him as much as you want, throw as many grenades at him as much as you want, he's still going to kill you.
Okay, so nerf his health a bit to actually... Because obviously, was the original isometrical Evolve, or did Dead by Daylight come out first, or Evolve? Because that was an isometrical one where obviously you play as like this alien monster versus Marines. So obviously similar to Predator Hunting Grounds, you are an alien, you're hunting down these Marines. Whereas obviously, if they work as a team, they should obviously be able to beat the Predator. Whereas you split up like you do in a normal horror film, you get picked off one by one.
Evolve came out first. That was in February of 2015, whereas Dead by Daylight was June of 2016.
Yeah, I thought Evolve was the first one. Yeah, I was supposed to get a free copy of that from Epic. Still waiting on that.
Why were you supposed to get a free copy?
They offered me a free copy of Evolve.
Why?
I don't remember.
Well then, but as for, obviously, Predator Hunting Grounds, that was only my experience with the beta, not the official full game. So they might have changed some things around for the balancing, I don't know. Made it a bit more even.
I just noticed something. Well, for example, like with Predator Hunting Grounds, yeah, it's £14, but it's $12. It should be the other way around. Unless for some reason it's cheaper on the US store. Cause like £12 is like what? No, sorry, $12 is like what, £10? Why am I paying an extra £4? Like normally, like quite often, games companies will do like a markup of. They'll do like this thing is $5 and this thing is £5. Obviously, they didn't obviously do the conversion right because obviously it should be like £4 something or £3 whatever. But it's easier just to write 5. So obviously you're paying more if you're playing in pounds because they can't be bothered to do the conversion rate. So, but that's just ridiculous. It should at very least be £12, $12. Like, what's the point in adding the extra money on? Damn your PlayStation.
If you're looking for free games, however, Defense Grid The Awakening, which is a tower defense type game, and Verdun, which is an FPS set in the trenches, they're both free on Epic Store until July 29th. They'll be replacing Abduction and Off-World Trading Company.
Like I said, isn't it ironic that obviously Epic Games give out 2 free games a week now, and then I still haven't gotten the Evolve.
And you probably never will.
Nope. I don't even think Did Evolve ever actually come out?
Oh yeah.
It was in development.
It was released in 2015.
Yeah, I'm guessing it didn't do very well.
No, it didn't. But another free game that you might be interested in is eFootball, which is going to be replacing the PES series.
The game itself is free, but they say that more content and game modes will be released after launch, and some of these will cost money. That's how they're getting the money. Obviously, they give you the game for free, so it's similar to obviously like a free-to-play game like Fortnite or something. Yeah, the base game is free, but obviously people buy like the battle pass every month. So that's obviously how they make the money, plus the cosmetics and crap. So I'm guessing they're working on a similar system.
Maybe. They have said that extra content will be released as optional DLC though, so you don't have to buy it if you don't want to. You can just play the free game.
You also don't have to buy the battle pass on Fortnite, but to get the most out of the game, you've got to. Well, see what these like blocked off game mode. What game modes they block off behind a paywall? Because I don't know. As far as I'm aware, there's like only one kind of match in football. Is there different game modes in actual football?
Well, no, they have. You can customize your matches, or you can have a career mode kind of thing.
Maybe a paid penalty shootout. Nah, that one will probably be free. I would hope.
Also in the news is Overwatch, as the live events are coming back on September the 4th. Online regional matches will be taking place, leading into a double elimination playoff from the 16th to the 19th, and then grand finales will be on the 25th. So if you're interested in competing against other players on there, those are your dates.
But on a less positive note, we've got this. There have been some recent controversy with Blizzard, Activision, hasn't there, Zombie?
Yes, Activision Blizzard Incorporated are being sued over a alleged frat boy culture and sexual harassment against their female employees. Since this is an ongoing investigation, all things are alleged and nothing is confirmed. It's being alleged that the frat boy culture has female employees subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation, according to the lawsuit that's been filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing. The 2-year investigation by the state agency found that the company discriminated against female employees in terms of conditions and employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, and termination. Company leadership consistently failed to take steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. That's what the agency says. According to the complaint filed on Tuesday in the Los Angeles Superior Court, female employees make up around 20% of the Activision workforce and are subjected to pervasive frat boy workplace culture, including cube crawls in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behaviour towards female employees. The agency alleges male employees play video games during the workday while delegating responsibilities to female employees, engage in sexual banter, and joke openly about rape, among other things. Female employees allege they are being held back from promotions because of the possibility that they might become pregnant, being criticised for leaving to pick up children from daycare and being kicked out of lactation rooms so that male colleagues could use the room for meetings. Female employees working for the World of Warcraft team noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory comments about rape, and otherwise engage in demeaning behaviour. The suit also points to a female Activision employee who took her own life, unfortunately. While on a company trip with a male supervisor, the employee had been subjected to intense sexual harassment prior to her death, including having nude photos passed around at a company holiday party. The agency seeks an injunction forcing compliance with the workplace projections, as well as unpaid wages, pay adjustments, back pay, and lost wages and benefits for female employees. There's a quote that says, "We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity for everyone. There is no place in our company or industry or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind." That's from a spokesperson at Activision Blizzard. They also said, "We take every allegation seriously and investigate all claims in cases related to misconduct. Action was taken to address the issue." The DFEH includes distorted and, in many cases, false descriptions of Blizzard's past. We have been extremely cooperative with the DFEH throughout their investigation, including providing them with extensive data and ample documentation, but they refused to inform us what issues they perceived. The statement continued to say, "The picture the DFEH paints is not the Blizzard workplace of today."
So that was a lot to digest.
Yes.
To be fair, a lot of obviously the stuff that has happened or has alleged to have happened sounds very similar to like something you'd see on in the film or TV. It doesn't sound like it should ever have got to that point in reality. I do think possibly that the statement that the DFEH includes distorted and in many cases false description of Blizzard's past, I do think that is possibly true. I do think it has definitely been blown out of proportion to what has actually occurred. But I mean, like the cube crawls, which they drink they drink and basically crawl their way through various cubicles in the office and engage in inappropriate behaviour. Okay, that is like an 80s film. How is that going on and nobody has noticed and fixed the problem?
Well, plenty of people will have noticed. Doesn't mean the problem's going to go away.
And then the next part, obviously, they play video games during workday while delegating responses to female employees. That's not. I don't think that's necessarily a sex thing. It just happens so that the lazy employees happen to be male and the other their subordinates happen to be female. You can have a lazy female boss who puts on her male worker. I don't doubt that that probably also occurs. But the engaging sexual banter, one, is not appropriate in the workplace, but two, as long as obviously they're consenting to it, if they play along, then it's not completely bad to joke about. If it's because I know some women who have that kind of sense of humour. It's not appropriate for the workplace, but it's not completely sexual harassment to even to joke about crap like that. Actually,
the whole point is that they're making the jokes, not caring about whether the girls are interested in joining in that kind of jokes. They're more hoping for a negative reaction from them because it's funnier to them, typically.
Yeah, but it doesn't say anything like that. It just says that they are, obviously they're making the jokes. It doesn't say that, obviously some women obviously aren't going to like that and probably reported it. Thus why that's obviously in this case. But I'm saying there are some women who would be fine with that and obviously will play along. But I'm saying, obviously, if you are going to do it in a workplace, you do it with someone who is okay with it. It doesn't say whether, obviously, the females are offended by it or if they like it. That's not up for debate. I'm just saying that, obviously, if you're going to do it in a workplace, you only do it with people who actually enjoy that sort of thing, rather than forcing it on like every woman who maybe feels a bit uncomfortable with you joking about that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I shouldn't be doing it in the workplace anyway. But my point was the fact that this isn't obviously the first sexual harassment or any case that's similar to this, because there's been many cases throughout history, and that particular behaviour is very common, and they tend to directly go for women who aren't interested in that kind of banter because they get a negative reaction from them, and that's what they want, because it's funnier to them.
I don't know, I can't relate.
Well, I've seen it over and over again.
I can't relate to obviously going out of my way to harass someone because it's funny. It's not funny.
Of course it's not, but to them it is.
I don't know what is twisted in their brain that they could think harassing someone is funny. I think they maybe need to go see a professional because they have some issues.
Yeah, they do. There are a lot of issues. I mean, particularly with that company trip that's mentioned where nude photos were passed around. That's incredibly fucked up.
Yeah, the employee that took her own life, granted, Blizzard did say they didn't like the fact that the DFEH were obviously including that and just dragging her through the mud. But I mean, I don't think either party in that is really clean. But apparently she was actually having a relationship with the supervisor.
Well, that would explain, obviously, the pictures, but that doesn't mean that they should have been passed around.
Oh, no, it shouldn't be. But obviously I'm saying that it's not like she was, obviously, I guess, they didn't just, take the pictures without her consent. It was just, there was shared around without her consent. That is if she was actually dating the supervisor. Supervisor might have been lying, maybe he's just like, I wish I could have dated her. I must say I did.
Well, you never know.
But she kept rebuting me. So, I indulged in a bit of revenge porn.
It's incredibly disturbing. We'll have to see how the lawsuit turns out. See what the result is.
I guess this is why their games have been slipping. Apparently, their games have been slipping for the past few years. Maybe this is why spending too much time harassing their female employees, not enough time actually doing work. But I mean, to be fair, the pregnancy thing though, I understand. If you have plans to be pregnant, then you're basically saying, I plan to obviously take time off and not be able to actually work at the company. You want someone who's obviously there to work at the company.
Yeah, that's fine, but they were saying that the supervisors are assuming that because they're a woman, they could get pregnant at any moment, therefore they're not going to be promoted.
Hey, as a guy, I could get my missus pregnant.
Yes, but as a guy, you can't take time off work for that.
Yes, I can.
No, she's pregnant, not you.
No, but I still get paternal leave.
Optional.
Yeah, but I can take it.
But it's optional, whereas maternal leave isn't, for the obvious reason.
Yes, but my point being, I could still ditch the company for a bit as a man. It's my point. My point is it's the reliability issues. Obviously, if you have to take maternity leave, you're not working for the company. That company is then losing an asset because you're pregnant. There's no such thing as obviously making a choice without consequences. If you get pregnant, you commit to obviously taking that time, stepping back a bit in your career to have that child. You can't be given more responsibility and then also have the child, because obviously you're going to have to delegate to someone else anyway, so why didn't that other guy just get the job anyway? But yes, they should. If a guy wants to have children and his partner is expecting, should he get the promotion? No, because he's going to be getting, obviously he's going to have to take more time off work to look after that child. And yes, picking the children up while they're supposed to be working, from a professional standpoint, is not on. From a human perspective, obviously, yeah, you've got to go pick your kid up, but something's got to give. You've either got to be the worker or the parent. You can't be both at the exact same time. So if you're at work, somebody else has to get that kid. If you want to go get that kid, somebody else is going to have to cover your shift.
The point is that they're claiming that the supervisors are making the assumption that because they're female, they're going to have children anytime soon. But the woman might not even want children, or might not even be in a relationship with someone, or, might not be able to have children. So I'm sure they're just using it as an excuse to not promote the woman because she's a woman, rather than it having anything to do with the possibility of children. In lighter news, however, there's a new survival horror game coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, alongside its previously announced PS5 and Xbox Series and Switch versions. It was originally announced for PS4 and Xbox One, but those versions were cancelled in favour of the next-gen versions, and now those versions have returned, and that game is, of course, Tormented Souls.
What can you tell me about Tormented Souls?
From what I could gather from the trailer, it appears to be a retro-style survival horror, so it has more fixed-type camera angles, rather than a free cam. That's about it.
So, basically, if you like the old-school Resident Evils, this is more of what you enjoy. But if you're like me and I hate fixed camera angles, you're going to have a bad time.
I do think that the camera is a bit more free motion than the Resident Evil cameras, though, like the original Resident Evil. Because in the trailer you do see, for example, the camera moving down the hallway with the character, rather than staying at one end of the hallway and watching you walk all the way down it.
Yeah.
And then obviously it pans back outwards if you come the other way through the hallway. But there was a shot in the trailer where you're stood in a room, and it's a very fixed camera of an open view of the room, and you're stood against a wall shooting some enemies that are coming towards you. So,
how do you feel about fixed cameras?
Well, I've not really played any titles with fixed cameras, so I can't really say. I don't have much experience with them.
I do think possibly they're better than the cameras you had in the middle Resident Evils, like you had 4 or 5, because for whatever reason you could not move and move the camera at the same time. So basically you couldn't just you had to run a bit, stop to be able to turn the camera to aim at the enemy to then shoot them. I can't move and shoot, which feels very limiting. It's not scary. I mean, yeah, it's a horror game. I don't find it scary. I just find it frustrating that I cannot move.
Another thing to note about Tormented Souls, I've just remembered. The story is, I believe, a detective-type story. You're investigating the disappearance of a girl, I think.
Yeah.
Or twins, something like that.
I'll be honest, but based on the concept art, it looks very Silent Hill. It's like a Silent Hill, old-school Resident Evil horror.
Well, they do say that they've drawn inspiration from Silent Hill and Resident Evil, so the classic games.
Guess it checks out then.
Yeah. It's somewhat of a more modern homage to the older titles, with obviously their own unique story.
Well, there you go. You said you wanted a remake of Silent Hill. There's something close, but then it's also a bit of Resident Evil thrown in there.
Yeah, but it's not Silent Hill. I need it to be Silent Hill remake or remaster. It has to be that game for me, because I never played the original. So, and it'll be too janky to play now. So, I need a more modern version of it.
I actually don't know what happens in the original.
I know the basic story of it, I think.
No one ever mentioned it.
Because it's the same as the film, and I watched the film many years ago.
I'm sure I thought the film is kind of And that's kind of the same story as the third game.
I don't know. I don't know the story of the third game.
I think it's girl receives a letter from her mother, tells her to come to Silent Hill. She goes to Silent Hill. There's like monsters and stuff there.
Well then no, because the original story is about a guy who gets a letter or whatever to go to Silent Hill. He's looking for his wife.
Oh, so it's the second game.
Okay, that's the story of the film. It's the guy gets the letter to go to Silent Hill looking for his wife, and then obviously faces all the monsters and Pyramid Head and all the gang.
Yeah.
And then finds his wife where she's been all along, without spoiling that.
I'm sure the film had a woman as the lead.
Not the film I watched. I mean, there's been multiple films, so...
Can Kojima make Silent Hills yet?
Well, there's some rumours surrounding that, but there's nothing concrete on what they're doing.
Yeah.
There was some rumours surrounding that they was going to be doing a Silent Hill type project. They've also pronounced the rumours, so we don't know. Also in the news, however, is IO Interactive, as they've put out a bit of an update for Project 007 in some form. Project 007, of course, is going to be an origin story of James Bond. It's got no links to any films whatsoever. It's a complete original work. According to a listing for a senior gameplay producer, the studio is creating prototypes for shooting, melee combat systems, and other systems. They've also added brand new animation system and a new AI framework. The listing also originally stated that the game would be a third-person stealth action-oriented game, although it would have adventure elements, maps, enemies and challenges that would adapt to the player's actions.
So, like obviously, they make Hitman. I'm thinking this James Bond game is going to be very similar, because obviously it's about stealthing around. Obviously, Hitman's just basically take out this target, whereas James Bond's not always taking out targets. He's not always a hitman.
Nah, he's an action hero. He's shooting up a lot of bad guys and making explosions, and using a lot of gadgets. That's James Bond.
It's not very stealthy.
No, but that's what James Bond is known as, the action hero. But obviously this is an origin story of James Bond, so they're taking a stealth approach, I suppose, to earn the title of 007.
Yeah, but because that's what he's supposed to be. He's supposed to be a spy. His whole deal is subterfuge.
Except in the movies.
Oh yeah, the movies is more things mess up, things blow up. He's not a very good spy in the films.
People get shot, yeah. But obviously this is IO Interactive, so I'm assuming that it would play exactly like Hitman, just with obviously a James Bond storyline.
So we're going to be knocking people out and stealing their clothes as James Bond.
Well, I don't think you'd be doing disguises like that. I think you'd maybe using gadgets to spy on people and maybe put listening devices or whatever in offices and do that kind of thing. Maybe.
Can we do both?
Well, I don't know.
Can we do both? Give me multiple approaches. But unlike obviously Hitman, this is apparently going to include a multiplayer element. Hitman doesn't have multiplayer. No, it doesn't have multiplayer, does it? Well, it does and doesn't.
Oh, there's a multiplayer mode in one of the Hitman. I don't know if it's in Hitman 3, but it was in Hitman 2.
Yeah.
But that's basically just snipe more people than your person that you're with. The multiplayer side of this is a lot more unconfirmed than the information we have about the main game. In other news, there was an online outage recently that affected the PlayStation Network and Steam. It didn't last for very long, it was maybe up to an hour or so, and it showed some users getting a DNS error. I was affected by this on PlayStation Network for about maybe half an hour or something for me. I was trying to access the trophies list for Demon's Souls, and then it just wouldn't show me it because I couldn't find a way to actually put it in offline mode. It was trying to do it in online mode, and obviously the service wasn't working. But when I checked the PlayStation Network status website, it said everything was up and running, which was very confusing because I got a message on the PlayStation that said that they're doing some maintenance, so a bit contradictory. But it turns out it was due to a temporary glitch that caused an online outage. So, in game trailer news though, we have Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl, which appears to just be just like Super Smash Bros, but with Nickelodeon characters instead.
Yes.
So if you like Super Smash Bros and you like Nickelodeon, then maybe that's going to be your thing.
Oh no, I'd definitely say I prefer the Nickelodeon All-Stars to Smash. I didn't play Nintendo growing up, whereas obviously I know a good chunk of the characters actually in all-stars. Some of the characters I think are possibly from newer shows, and obviously I don't watch Nickelodeon anymore.
Yeah, when I saw the trailer, I obviously recognised some characters, like from SpongeBob and everything, but there was a couple of characters I'm like, I don't know who that is, so they're probably new.
Yeah, I think most of them, are older stuff, like from, quite a lot of them are like from the 90s.
Yeah, I recognised that there was the blonde-haired girl, I can't remember what she's called or what she's from, but she was in there, with the pink dress thing.
Is her name Angela?
Possibly. It sounds familiar.
She's from Hey Arnold.
That's the one. There you go. Got some Hey Arnold characters in there.
There was a monster from Our Real Monsters. I think that the one that's in it that they actually showed was a Oblina, so like the stick kind of creatures.
Yeah.
With the big massive filler lips. She had those. She had the lip filler before it was cool.
It's never been cool. Just because it's more common don't mean it's cool. Another trailer that was announced, of course, is a Dead Space trailer for the Dead Space remake. A remake from the original Dead Space. And that's coming to... Is that all platforms or is that just next gen?
It's PS5, Series X, and S, and PC. So yeah, just next gen.
Next gen and PC. So if you like the original Dead Space and you want to see it look even better, that's on the way for you. Or if you've never played Dead Space, then there's your chance to play it in its... while it looks even better. So, personally I've never played Dead Space.
Me neither.
The only Dead Space I've ever played was a demo for Dead Space Extraction, I think it was called.
Yeah.
It's not one of the trilogy, but...
Weirdly enough, I think it's Dead Space 3. I have that, it's on my EA account. I never bought it. I don't know why it's there. I suspect... I think a few years ago, my EA account got accessed by somebody else, and they'd been using it to play Battlefield 4. But I don't know if they bought the Dead Space. I don't know where the hell it came from, but it's on there. No, I think EA have not that long ago also have just given me the full trilogy.
Well, since I've never played a full Dead Space title, I've been interested in Dead Space as a horror fan, but I've never gone back and actually played any of them. So I think I might give the remake a chance and see what it's like.
You should. You like dying, don't you?
No, not really. But I like horror.
A lot of ways to die in that game.
There's a lot of ways to die in a lot of games. It don't mean you have to die.
Give you 50 quid if you complete the entire game without dying.
No thanks. Speaking of Battlefield, we have Battlefield Portal that's been announced. They dropped a new trailer showing off some of the things that will be possible within this Battlefield Portal. Battlefield Portal, of course, is going to be a combination of all the different Battlefield games put together into one community service so that you can make your own maps and things. You can make your own matches. You can combine the World War I weapons with more advanced weapons, more modern weapons. Do whatever you want, really.
But would you?
Completely up to you. I'm sure some people will. They even showed off a little match between a group of people with knives and a group of people with defibrillators. Anything's possible.
I mean, yes, but that's not the same as, like, using, like, a really old gun versus a more modern gun. The idea of making, obviously, newer guns is that they improve on the old ones. So they should be objectively better.
I'm just saying that it's something you can do, as well as mixing tanks from different eras or anything from a different era. It's up to you. As an example of what you can do with the settings from launch, you have factions, which is obviously all the different Battlefield eras. So you can choose which weapons and vehicles compete on the battlefield. So you can pit a 1942 era team against foes outfitted with modern weapons and tech. Added some mobility options so that you can make it more realistic if you want to, so that you can't physically aim down the sights on your screen, or go prone, or you can take away the HUD, the minimap, and you can take away the ability to heal over time, and you can also switch off sprinting. You'll also be able to restrict weapons, specialist gear, and vehicles that players have access to, and you can control the max number of players for each team, as well as which weapons everyone has access to, creating as much balance as you choose. So if you want to, you could pit 10 people armed with assault rifles against 50 people armed with knives. You can do whatever you want. It's completely up to you. You have the freedom of choice. to do what you want. What do you think about it?
Yeah, it's a very ambitious project, but I think giving the players too much control over like the matches and stuff, like surely it would be too easy to just say, obviously this team is like super powerful and this team gets nothing, and then you get put on the weaker team. Oh well, you're just going to get dominated, so people are just going to obviously rage quit as soon as they spawn in, so no one's actually going to play the game. So you're relying obviously on the player to actually make it a balanced and fun experience.
If you wanted to, you could also put people with the best, like, most modern weapons and the specialist stuff against people with the same stuff. If you wanted to, you can do what you want.
I mean, I could.
What I wonder is if, I'm assuming it's going to happen at some point with this, is if people will make a similar thing that they did on Call of Duty in the old days, when you would have people with guns against people with knives as a kind of zombie thing. So the people with knives represented as zombies and the people with guns were obviously the people that were surviving.
Yes.
I'm assuming someone will do that kind of thing as well.
Yes.
I don't know if it's possible for you to switch teams upon death on Battlefield Portal.
I don't know, I mean, Call of Duty didn't exactly give you the tools to be able to allow you to create that. And this is apparently just giving you like all the tools to just do whatever you want.
Well, in the old days it was initially a mod that started it out, and then the developers decided to make an actual game mode where if you died as a survivor you would then respawn as an infected.
Yeah, but I'm saying obviously with the developers of Battlefield already giving you all the tools, it'll be a lot easier to make a mode like that. You don't have to know how to make mods. You've literally just been given everything on a plate.
I know, but my point, of course, was that I don't know if they have it in the Battlefield Portal, if they have the ability to switch teams upon death, so that you can die as a survivor and come back as an infected.
Possibly.
If they implement that, then obviously that kind of game mode will be made.
But I mean, if we're going to do that, then you got to add a zombie model into the game so the infected actually look like zombies, rather than just people with knives.
Well, now you're just giving them even more work to do.
What do you mean even more work to do?
Well, they'll have to make the model.
Well, yeah, but you say even more work as if Battlefield themselves are obviously making anything. They're obviously having the user make the maps and stuff.
Well, they've set everything up, and they're obviously making Battlefield 2042 as well, which I'm assuming that Battlefield Portal will include stuff from Battlefield 2042 as well.
Yeah, it does. Portal will have things from Battlefield 2042, Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company 2, and Battlefield 3.
What about Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5?
I'm not DICE, and possibly, maybe they add that at a later date. But upon release, that's what you're getting.
Well, it appears to be a good project anyway, to sideline their Battlefield 2042 release. But that just about wraps up everything we've got for this week. Thanks for joining us again for another episode. So I'll see you again next week with another episode.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.